Everyone's talking about sustainability these days, but here's the truth, most companies don't really care. In fact, many businesses are just pretending to be eco-friendly while continuing harmful practices behind the scenes. Did you know that more than 40% of so-called green companies are guilty of greenwashing? They make false or exaggerated claims about being sustainable just to sell more products. Here's another shocking stat. Only 9% of all plastics ever made have been recycled. The rest? They're sitting in landfills or polluting our oceans. Meanwhile, companies push recycled products as if they've solved the problem. Spoiler alert, they haven't. So, where does that leave us? Should we give up on the idea of sustainable living? Absolutely not. In this video, I'll show you how to take back control. We'll expose corporate tricks, dive into real DIY solutions, and explore the power of minimalism and living local. This isn't about buying more green products, it's about making smarter choices. Ready to see how you can make a bigger impact without relying on companies? Let's get started. Chapter 1: The Greenwashing Game. How companies fake sustainability. Many companies today love to parade their so-called green credentials. But if you dig a little deeper, you'll find a lot of that is smoke and mirrors. Greenwashing, which is the act of making a business or product seem more eco-friendly than it is more common than you might think. Did you know that more than 42% of companies falsely market their products as eco-friendly? According to a 2020 report by the Changing Markets Foundation, many businesses exaggerate claims about being sustainable to capitalize on the rising demand for environmentally conscious products. It's an easy way for companies to stay relevant without making real changes. Take the fashion industry, for example. Fast fashion brands love to slap an eco label on clothing lines made with recycled materials. But here's the kicker, the entire production process behind those items still relies on cheap labor and harmful chemicals. The end product might contain some recycled fibers, but what's the true cost? In most cases, it's just clever marketing hiding a wasteful reality. One major issue is how little regulation exists to check these claims. Companies aren't required to provide detailed reports on their supply chains. So, they can get away with doing the bare minimum. Tara Button, author of A Life Less Throwaway, once said, "We need to move beyond green marketing. We need green actions." And she's right. Too often, brands focus on appearance rather than making long-term, impactful changes. Instead of relying on companies to lead the charge, we need to educate ourselves. We need to ask tough questions. How transparent is this company about its entire supply chain? What are they doing beyond just releasing green products? In a world where greenwashing is rampant, knowledge is power. Chapter 2: DIY Sustainability. Ditching brands for real solutions. Why depend on companies for sustainability when you can take control yourself? Sustainability is a growing movement, and it's not as hard as you think. Making your own eco-friendly cleaning products, growing a small garden, or even learning to repair things instead of throwing them away are powerful ways to minimize your environmental footprint. Let's start with something as simple as household cleaning. Commercial cleaners often contain harmful chemicals, even if they're labeled natural or green. By using ingredients like vinegar, baking soda, and essential oils, you can make cleaners that are just as effective and way better for the environment. In fact, vinegar is known to kill 99% of bacteria, just like commercial cleaners, without the toxic residue. Gardening is another fantastic way to cut back on corporate influence. Growing even a small portion of your own food reduces the need to rely on mass agriculture, which contributes to 30% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Urban gardening has seen a resurgence, with cities like Detroit converting empty lots into thriving gardens. This not only reduces food miles but also strengthens local communities. In addition, learning basic DIY skills like sewing or carpentry can be a game changer. The Ellen MacArthur Foundation found that by extending the life of clothes by just 9 months, we could reduce waste by 30%. Instead of buying into fast fashion's endless cycle of buy, wear, discard, fixing your own items saves money and the planet. Sustainability is about being resourceful, thoughtful, and intentional. You don't have to buy into the eco-products market when you can create your own solutions. As Lauren Singer, founder of Trash is for Tossers, says, the most sustainable option is not buying something new. This approach saves money, reduces waste, and empowers you to live a greener life on your terms. Chapter 3: Unplugging from the System. How minimalism is the real sustainability. Minimalism isn't just about decluttering your home. It's a lifestyle that can have a massive impact on the environment. The less you consume, the less waste you create. This simple equation makes minimalism one of the most sustainable choices you can make. By adopting a minimalist mindset, you're not only reducing your carbon footprint but also moving away from consumerism, which drives much of the world's environmental degradation. According to a study by the Stockholm Environment Institute, overconsumption is the leading cause of biodiversity loss and contributes to 60% of greenhouse gas emissions. Minimalism directly counters this by encouraging mindful consumption. When you focus on owning only what you need, you buy less, waste less, and contribute less to the massive demand for resources. Think about the things you own. How many items sit unused in your home? In the US, the average household contains about 300,000 items, most of which never see the light of day. By choosing to live with less, you reduce the energy and resources required to produce, ship, and eventually dispose of those items. It's not about deprivation, it's about making room for what truly matters. A minimalist lifestyle also cuts back on the energy we use. Fewer possessions mean less space needed to store them. This can lead to downsizing your home, which, in turn, reduces energy use. Smaller homes consume significantly less electricity, water, and heating. And according to research from the University of Michigan, households that practice minimalism can reduce their energy consumption by 15–20% on average. Minimalism is a shift in mindset. It's a way of saying, I have enough. By unplugging from the constant need for more, you not only reduce your impact on the planet but also free yourself from the pressures of consumer culture. As Joshua Becker, author of The More of Less, puts it, minimalism is the intentional promotion of the things we most value and the removal of anything that distracts us from it. In the end, minimalism isn't just good for your peace of mind, it's good for the planet too. Chapter 4, Local Living, Global Impact, Shrinking Your Supply Chain. We often don't think about the journey our products take before they reach us. But every item we buy has a supply chain, and the longer it is, the bigger the environmental footprint. This is why living locally can have such a huge impact. By sourcing food and products from nearby, you reduce the distance goods travel, cutting down on emissions and supporting local economies. Take food, for instance. Did you know that the average meal in the US travels over 1,500 miles from farm to plate? That's a lot of fuel, energy, and packaging before it even reaches your home. In contrast, buying from local farmers cuts down on these hidden costs. Plus, local food is often fresher and healthier because it doesn't have to be preserved for long trips. There's a movement growing around local living, and it's not just about food. Many people are turning to local artisans, small businesses, and even local energy sources. Bioregionalism, a concept introduced by Peter Berg, encourages people to live within their local ecosystems, using the resources around them in a way that's sustainable. It's about creating communities that are self-reliant and less dependent on global supply chains. Buying local also helps to reduce waste. Products sold by large corporations often come with excessive packaging. Local goods, on the other hand, are typically less packaged, as they don't need to survive long-distance transport. Plus, supporting local businesses keeps money within the community, helping to build a more resilient economy. Love what you see? Subscribe and keep up with all our exciting updates.